Holy cow, so freaking pod.
Chapter 10.
Chapter 10.
Okay. Hi, I'm Chuuurls.
I'm Cherrydoom. I have a cold, so I sound even more manly than usual.
And I'm Chad, and I sound about as manly as I normally do.
All right, we're keeping it real here at the podcast. Cherrydoom, will you go ahead and read the summary in your manly voice, please?
I will, and I've chosen to read Chad's summary.
Well, you better back up.
It's a little more concise.
You better back up because the listeners might not know that I'm the one who usually writes the summary, but this time it was very difficult to crunch it down and keep it coherent, so Chad gave it a whirl and it was really good. So we're going to read Chad's summary.
Chapter 10. Anna meets Christian's beautiful blonde adopted mom, Dr. Grace Trevelyan Gray. Not sure I'm saying that right. Trevelyan?
I think it's Trevelyan. I think you're good to say that.
Who is pleased to meet Anastasia for undisclosed reasons. Anna accidentally takes a call from Jose, which upsets Christian in an unexpectedly territorial alpha male sort of way. He narrows his eyes. Christian decides to drive Anna home and gives her the contracts for becoming his submissive, a position and lifestyle he implores her to research online. On the drive, Christian relents and allows Anna to talk to Kate about all this new confusing sex stuff, provided Elliot remains uninformed. Stopping to eat at some completely made-up bullshit fake fantasy hipster organic survivalist meal shack cabin restaurant, Christian reveals his heartwarming past, including his mom's now dispelled belief that he was gay, for lack of lady company, a result of his apparent incompatibility with his past submissives, but mainly that his non-vanilla sex-having ways stem from a teen sex relationship with an older woman in which Christian played the submissive. Christian drops Anna off, leaving her with a Wednesday date promise. Anna and Kate sort of talk about their misadventures in bed. Then Jose reappears to be weird and creepy. Just before Anna can read the contract in bed, E.L. James puts in a chapter break.
Pet theories. I almost didn't have one, but then I remembered. I had dreams about Cherrydoom and Chad, so really about the podcast. I was touching Cherrydoom's hair because I was admiring her hairstyle, but I woke up when I was doing this and I was actually just touching like my boyfriend's hair. And Chad and I were on a plane. That was a house in the dream, and we were trying on all these secondhand clothes. He was a tiny anime teenager and acted upset anytime it seemed like somebody would touch him. But it was easy to cheer him up by complimenting him on his outfit. And you had a really weird jacket on. It was like this rumple iridescent striped jacket, and you're like thanks for liking my jacket. So my theory then is that we are fated to do a live show where I touch Cherrydoom's hair and Chad turns out to be 15 and really into fashion.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I don't know. I think I could probably hold off on that.
Okay, my pet theory is that Taylor, the driver / assistant, is actually a robot who lives in a tiny compartment in Christian Gray's wall. Because he, apparently appears out of nowhere, and Anna freaks out, he was here the whole time? Where was he? Does he live here? What's going on?
He's just in the walls, peeking out at Christian.
Or no, he's in sleep mode, and he probably turns on in the morning to make breakfast or something.
Oh, he's like that one. He's like the one robot from Star Wars on Bespin.
Yeah, the silver C-3PO that appears out of the wall.
No, the one that's I've forgotten his name. Han Solo's friend. He has that assistant android that has the ear thing that doesn't look so weird anymore.
By the way, Han Solo's friend, as you call him, is Lando Calrissian.
God damn! I was like, what's his name? How could I forget? I felt like the most terrible individual. I can't remember this guy's name, and he's a great character. What's his name? Yeah. Please just edit me out of this podcast. Sorry, but that's Lando Calrissian.
It's not okay to not remember the only black character's name.
Yeah, it's Lando Calrissian. It's not okay to not remember him. You can forget any of the other characters in the movies. Anyway, just edit me out of this podcast totally.
Yeah, this is just mainly serving to appeal to my robot fascination. And I just wish that this book had robots in it.
Is it possible that Taylor is a ghost?
That would be cool too. And he just appears whenever he's needed.
Oh, I just thought of the coolest plot that is never going to happen. Taylor's a ghost, he was in the Gulf War and he died, but he's unsent, a la Final Fantasy X. And he is Christian's guardian.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it too, but it's never going to happen.
Unless we make it happen.
Whose dream is Taylor then? If he's unsent all at Final Fantasy X.
Barack Obama.
Allow me to tell you my pet theories. So the first one is that Anna and Dr. Gray are Quakers. That's the whole theory.
Anna and Dr. Gray are Quakers, and why do you think this?
Because there's a line that I read, and the way that it's written, I will just read it now. She holds her hand out to me, her eyes glowing, and we shake.
Oh, right, shaking.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they're shaking hands. It sounds like they're just shaking or like vibrating together.
Wait, but do Quakers vibrate or do they spin?
Quakers?
There's also an actual group called the Shakers.
Yeah, there's the Shakers.
They popularized peg and hole nail styles in furniture. Like, instead of using nails, they just had like little wooden pegs.
Oh.
I was actually thinking of the Shakers. You're right. I was thinking of the Shakers.
But quaking also means shaking.
Yes, it does. And the Quakers also did that. However, I was thinking of the Shakers.
Shakers believe in no frills, which means that they could not possibly be the Greys. Or the Greys have just, are lapsed Shakers.
I was going to say they secretly live in like a pit behind the mansion. It's all just keeping up appearances. Whenever I hear the word Quakers, I only think of oatmeal, and I did not make the connection that they quaked until I was quite old.
They're also extremely pacifistic, the cereals and stuff. So the second one is that Christian is a winner of the program, one particular winner of the program, because there's only one that actually likes Bruce Springsteen. So
explain what you mean, because I don't understand what you mean when you say win the program.
That was a very oblique reference to Battle Royale.
Aha! Okay. See, I read that when I was in like high school. God, 15?
And maybe? if you've only seen the movie, they don't actually, because of like licensing things, they don't actually make reference to the fact that the main character of the movie, Shunya, likes Bruce Springsteen, and that's the reason he plays the guitar. Yeah.
No,
oh God, this is bringing it way back for me.
There's a bunch of Bruce Springsteen lines in the book too.
I was gonna ask you guys what is your favorite song of the Bosses?
It's a good question.
I'm not a fan. Born in the USA, is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that one.
I like Born to Run, but I really don't like. I don't have a good handle on his like discography. So
that's okay. Just like what you hear on the radio, because I don't who the fuck buys Bruce Springsteen albums. I guess someone does. I'm sorry if you do. I don't. Okay, my favorite is Hungry Heart, because the way it starts is so fucking funny. Got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack. I went out for a ride, and I'll never look back. Yeah, okay, let's talk about it later.
Oh, I was gonna say that I think I know which song they're supposed to be listening to. Anyway, okay, the last one is Anna is attracted to gray aliens.
What?
Because Christian Grey. Alien.
Well,
alien.
Okay, there's a specific line later where she says, "What is it about the gray men?" And I wonder if they're related to the green men.
I had a friend in real life who was obsessed with gray aliens because he thought that he saw one. So, Eric, if you're listening to this, grays are real.
Well, no, they're fictional characters.
It is highly unlikely that Eric will ever listen to this podcast. Then let's go right on ahead. Mechanics, right?
Yep, that thing you just said.
I didn't put a whole ton of effort into it as I did last time, but I still got something for those of you who enjoy it. So here we go. Perhaps meeting her will help put a little part of the jigsaw in place. Might help me understand why Christian is the way he is. Those are 2 sentences, but I think that perhaps this should have just been 1 sentence with a comma before might. So a little part of the jigsaw in place might help me understand why Christian is the way he is.
I think it should, if anything, it should be a semicolon.
Maybe.
Not sure about that.
Maybe.
I kind of use semicolons whenever I am not sure.
I agree. I use them quite a lot. I have to use them when I write papers as well.
And I don't know if I'm actually using them correctly.
I'll check for you.
I have to say that I think that you're like both of the things you guys said are fine. I think that as this like stands, it's fine. Just because the book is like, if she were a more consistent writer, the style for Anna's internal dialogue or internal monologue would be fine, and it'd be fine then. I mean, but considering how bad it's just, I mean, considering how bad the rest of the writing is, like, it's legit to criticize this because she's so inconsistent about how she, like, what sort of style.
I will say that it's not absolutely necessary to change this. It was one of the things I didn't feel like super strongly about, but I think there's no sort of base that E.L. James has for Anna to have like this. It's a weird little voicing, and like it might work if she actually, had that internal monologue type style, but she doesn't. So I think, I just don't think it's great how it is. And instead of ending with an ellipsis, the way he is, maybe she should end with a straight up period. Just things to consider. Again, not something I was super crazy about, but something that I thought could use improvement. Next. Well, how was it? I couldn't stop thinking about you after Elliot left, that is. This is a 2-time comma crime. Check it out. I couldn't stop thinking about you, comma, after Elliot left, comma, that is. Really, it should be, I couldn't stop thinking about you, period. After Elliot left, that is. And I guess maybe it's not 2 times of comma crime. But the comma is wrong if it's like a second comma. I don't know. I gotta backpedal now. I was thinking about this. Anyways.
Who has committed the real crime here?
I guess I was too, my hand was too heavy when it came to justice. Where's Kate? What have you done with her? Does that already sound weird to you, listeners? Because it should. Where's Kate and what have you done with her is probably how that should read. Or it could be, where's Kate? Question mark. What have you done with her? In my notes, this says comma crime, but I think I was just getting excited. Last one from me. Just the kitchen and our bedrooms left to pack up, and we have the rest of the week. Result! That's in italics. Result. Just one word, the word result. I don't know if that's actually wrong or not, just because I've never seen that before. Maybe it is right.
That is super British.
It is?
Really?
Okay.
Yes. Result.
Okay.
Result is the thing that some people say.
But it's just result. It's not results.
Result. No, it's
It's...
Is it supposed to be like how one might say success?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But result, not results. I was even thinking like maybe it's an error in my copy.
Nope, it's there too.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not in my print copy. So
Really?
they probably edited it out as a localization.
Hang on, where is it? Okay, what are they doing?
They're talking about moving. Okay, here we go. What more could we need? Just the kitchen and our bedrooms left to pack up, and we have the rest of the week. Result!
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's not in my copy. I finally found it. God damn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's weird. My copy's got so many problems.
I do have one this week, finally. Let's see. I stare down at my hands, comma, as I knot my fingers together. I'm pretty sure there's not a comma needed there.
Indeed, that comma is not necessary.
Comma crime!
Comma crime!
The young rookie starts solving her own cases. To Chuuurls' grizzled old vet.
Yeah, I'll teach you the ropes. Just don't get out of control. Okay, we're on to Americans, and we don't...
what about Chad?
Indeed, what about Chad? Chad, you don't put your notes in the fucking document. I forget
He
about
doesn't
you.
write them. He's winging it, I'm pretty sure.
He's probably winging it.
I do write my notes.
I suspect you.
Sure you
I do write my notes. I really do. You can edit this out, but I'm making a defense, just so the listeners who are not hearing this thing that has been edited out know. I don't have anything. Okay. Moving on.
You butt.
This chapter was like unbearable.
Can we talk about that
terrible.
right now?
Sure.
Sure. I just wanted to note that I didn't look out for very much in the mechanics just because so much of it was repetitive. Like a lot of the problems were similar.
I noticed for quoting future portions, I would find all these other grammatical issues and I would just say like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
The chapter is so long. It should have been 3 chapters. It's just terrible. Americans. And I actually have not really a revision, but an update from last week. And I really should go on Twitter and see who the person's name is. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it.
Oh, it's the thing about Under the Grill, right?
It was. Okay, it's Phil. Llama Phil. He said that in England, they tend to use gas ovens with a integrated grill or broiler. So it's just the word for broiler. And it's common for people to use broilers to cook bacon rather than frying it. So thank you, Phil. I still think that it's weird that she's using it to warm the bacon up, though, because it seems that she went from the frying pan into the broiler.
Out of the frying pan into the broiler.
But anyway, thanks, Phil. I only have one, and it's kind of weird, and I'm alright if you challenge me on this, but I thought it was a good example. When Christian is having the Darfur conversation about, like, oh, the shipment, just the bullshit, he snaps at someone on the phone who is named only Roz. I guess it's short for Rosalind, maybe, and that sounded kind of English to me. I don't understand why I think this. I know that it could happen in America that somebody could be called Roz, but it seems like I feel like I might have heard that like on a BBC show or something. Roz. Yeah.
It sounds to me like a very businessman nickname kind of name. Like I can see it being said in American Psycho, which I keep referencing when we talk about this.
Because Christian Bale.
I know, I just really want that to be him. To be him, be a insane killer. Anyway.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that this is Americant.
Yeah, I completely understand if nobody would agree with me.
I also have a name, Americant, which is Christian's middle name and his mom's maiden name, which is Trevelyan. Trevelyan. At first I was like, that's not a real name. She made that up to be fancy or something. But it is. It's a Cornish surname, apparently.
Didn't you ever see Goldeneye? Alec Trevelyan. was the anyway.
Okay, I actually have to cut in here and say that I thought that Trevelyan was an Armenian last name. My grandfather is. I guess I should not say his last name. Typically, with Armenian names, they end in Lyan or
Yep.
Lian. Like, search Tankian.
Adomian. Anyway, I just thought that this sounded very strange. And I thought that when I thought that it was made up, I was like, well, this is just like Tom Marvolo Riddle from Harry Potter, where the middle name was clearly made up so that she could complete her ridiculous anagram of I am Lord Voldemort. And so I was wondering if there was anything similar.
Similar? What do you mean similar?
An anagram of Christian Trevelyan Grey.
You're in luck because I made some anagrams. For Voldemort specifically, Vinyl Nart was the closest I could get for Vinyl Nart. Vinyl Nart. Okay, just some additional ones. So the anagram JavaScript thing you can get, the server usually gets overloaded and I wasn't able to get on for that. So I made my own.
Really?
For me, it was like 18 letters is the limit.
I don't know what you're using.
A computer.
Okay.
Using a computer. But here, I got some anagrams. I made them up myself. Leery, Veiny, Rasta, Grinch. Evil, Rich, Tarty, near Genwise.
I found one that was a enchanter, Grizzly, and then I can't remember the last word. And now I'm getting that server thing, so
See?
you're right all along. Wait, Evil, Rich, Tardy, near Genwise? That's perfect. I think it should be near Tardy, Genwise, actually.
Ooh, okay. Evil, Rich, near Tardy, Genwise. But is Anna Gen Y? Like, when was she?
No, she's probably a millennial.
Are you calling Anna a tart?
Well, her subconscious. No, her inner goddess, maybe.
I mean, any woman is a tart. Just like you call them a bird or a wench. She's a tart.
This book is a few years old, so she's probably a Gen Y.
Yeah.
Well, I did some math in my head, and unless she was born before 84, which I don't think that she was at the time this book was published, she's not a Gen Y.
No, I think she would be.
Really?
Oh, wait, no, before. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Because she's about my age.
Oh, okay.
No, Gen X is before.
Yeah,
Gen
Gen
Y.
X is like 90s,
Yeah.
20-somethings.
So she would be a millennial, I believe, or a Gen Z if that's actually a thing. I don't think it is.
I was gonna say maybe the Gen Y thing is his mom's friend, but I don't think she's that young.
Anyway,
Anyways,
We don't actually know how old his mom is, so
she could be any age because he is adopted, so she doesn't
adopted.
have to be like especially older than him.
yeah.
Sounds like she is though.
Although they do have other children.
Yeah, but they're adopted as well.
We don't know that yet.
yes, we
Well,
do.
spoilers. Elliot is adopted.
Yeah,
that came
yeah,
out.
we know they're all adopted. He
Do we?
he said
Okay.
this in the interview. Yeah.
Oh, right. I've forgotten this whole book.
Anna says to Kate, "I'm really hungry. Shall I cook?" And I said, "Not unless you're being pretend snooty. Like, you wouldn't say, 'Shall I do this?' Not in America, I don't think. Unless you're being like, 'Shall I get you some tea, princess, fucking rich lady?' When you are
excuse me.
exactly.
Princess. If my kid came up to me and said, "Mommy, shall I do this for you?" I'd say, "Can you do it?" Not may you, not shall you. You can, child of mine that doesn't exist. Yet.
She does the Ive thing again.
Can you read it? I don't remember.
I have so many questions about sex.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're too involved.
I have so many questions about
Mhm.
sex.
She says that to Christian
Oof.
when she's trying to convince him to let her talk to Kate about it.
I have so many
I
questions.
have so many questions. I've not got any answers.
I've not got any answers. Help
If the
me.
goddess is my witness, I'll never have questions about sex again.
Oh boy. Time to
Wording.
go on to wording. I despair at my clothes. Maybe I should take Christian up on his offer of clothes. Clothes, 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 clothes. She already mentioned it, and we know the offer is about clothes, so maybe she should take Christian up on his offer and just end the sentence there. Just take him up on his offer.
Or like, I despair at my wrinkly shirt. Maybe I should take us up on his offer for clothes.
Yeah, exactly. If it was something specific, but you cannot, or you should not go clouds, clouds, clouds. Clouds.
Class.
Here we go. More about clothes, by the way. Struggling into my jacket, pleased that the cuffs cover the telltale patterns from his tie, I take a last anxious glance at myself in the mirror. This is grouping too many actions together. If you couldn't tell, that's one sentence. I read it kind of in a weird way. Okay, so she's struggling. She's pleased about the tie, and she takes a last anxious glance.
Yeah, you're right. That's like, she does three things. Okay, she's struggling.
That's certainly a thing that would happen in real life. However, you shouldn't write it that way. It's incredibly cumbersome.
Okay, so when I was acting out like that, I noticed that it actually could be good if she was like in a hurry and feeling kind of embarrassed, but it has to like, the writing has to go faster than that. It can't be like, struggling into my jacket. Please, I'm myself in the mirror. Like, how would I reword this? Because I don't want to put myself on the spot, because listeners might ask, well, Chuuurls, like, you're so good, why don't you do it? And I will. You could say something instead like, while I struggle into my jacket, I notice the cuff marks and feel a spurt of pleasure. And then, period, I take a last anxious glance at myself in the mirror to make sure my outfit is fly. That was really hard to do on a whim. If only I had written this up in my notes that I constantly read from.
Right.
You want to say something?
No, I just... It was
No.
I was checking our podcast stats instead of looking at the thing. 60 downloads for the lace up. Anyway.
I'm glad. I'm surprised. Everybody was like,
surprised.
where's the episode? I need my fix! Everybody said, like, I need my holy cast fix. I mean, it is very flattering, but at the same time.
I think it's mainly flattering, but I'm not the one who's under pressure editing the thing.
Well, I wouldn't have cared so much, except that on top of the trip, I was also really sick and almost barfing with migraine. On to the next quote. If I'm not mistaken, there's wonder and maybe stunned relief in her voice and a warm glow in her hazel eyes. So I just noticed that's too many ands. You gotta get a comma in there, baby. If I'm not mistaken, meaning you're not sure, and then you give a exact description of what is happening to her. Like, you need to stop doing that, E.L. James. Stop it with the maybe. Maybe she's exactly like this. How does she want to characterize Anna? Somebody who doesn't understand other people and who can't read them, or somebody who can read other people really well? Because either way, she's doing it wrong. She looks questioningly at Christian, unable to hide her curiosity. Shut up! She already looked questioningly at question! She already looked at questioningly. It's obvious that she would have a question in her mind. Perhaps she would be curious. She was not hiding it because you were able to tell that she was looking questioningly. It's just one of these things, again, where, like, it seems like maybe the narrator, Anastasia, like, is pretending that she doesn't know, but then, like, she knows. She completely knows. Just stop.
These are all very good criticisms, Chad.
Yeah! Yeah! I took everything that you own.
No, it's fine. I didn't pick any of these out, so it's perfectly fine.
The last one. Grace is in full flow. You know, that's funny, because Kate was also in full flow earlier, if you remember back at the photography.
They're syncing up.
They're sinking. And we sure do have a lot of happy menstruators around here. It's surprising because we don't know how old Grace is, but I immediately assumed that she was menopausal, so I guess I'm wrong. And by the way, there's so much phrase repeating. Like, okay, there's that full flow thing, and I'm sure that you guys have noticed that you just get the same little dumb sayings over and over again.
Yeah.
And in my notes, I've written it makes me feel like I'm being used as a recycle bin. That gets the cans that were already recycled, and then they get recycled again into different cans, and then I get those too.
We should probably say a few words about this thing that happens in writing, where people use like idioms and cliches and colloquialisms over and over again.
All right, I got a question for you then. Do you think that every writer has this problem? Because I sort of am inclined to think that they do if they don't edit.
It is something you have to break yourself of. And it's especially true if it's your first time writing something and you're trying to write the way that you talk, which is how I think E.L. James is often trying to write. But like, especially if you do a lot of reading, it's pretty easy to break this habit because you are less inclined to get stuck on particular phrases and catchphrases. And there's a reason that this sort of thing happens, and it's because it's a linguistic thing where to store particular units of information, sometimes it's easier to store a particular phrase as a meaning rather than all the individual words of the phrase as having the assigned meaning of sum total.
You mean like a mnemonic device?
Sort of. It's related to like a mnemonic device. So like when you're communicating to other people and for yourself, it's a shorthand, like a mnemonic. So the phrase itself carries this particular meaning, and you don't have to waste time thinking about how to put the phrase together, like how to assign meaning to the whole thing. So it is a very easy thing to do, especially when it's your first time writing, which this was E.L. James' first time. But it's very annoying, especially in something of a novel length, because it'll happen a lot.
And especially something that should have been edited by an editor.
Yeah, I imagine it was edited, but there was just no way to rewrite it.
I have a tangential comment, which not only Chad will understand, but he'll understand it. In English, I use the phrase frog in the well. And everybody was like, what does that mean? Do you know what that means? You should know what that means. It's a Japanese idiom.
Oh, what is it? I'm unfamiliar with it, I think.
So, wait, I'm just going to look it up because I can't possibly.
Even Chuuurls doesn't know what it means. This is a good one.
I mean, I know what it means. I still want to. Okay, so it's based on it. It's actually, maybe I should have said Asian. Here's the story. The frog lived down in a well where there was all he had to live. One day, a soft-shelled turtle came by and told him about the sea. The sea? Ha! It's paradise in here. Nothing can be better than this well. Why don't you come down and share my joy? The turtle tried and failed as the mouth of the well was too small. He also ate a jellyfish.
Yeah, small-ass well.
Why don't you go see the sea instead? Moral. Some ignorant people know nothing aside from their own world. That was what I was getting at. If you just say frog in a well, that doesn't...
I understand.
Me too.
Okay.
You did exactly the same thing that I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, like, not that that's a bad thing. Yeah, that's a perfect example of that sort of thing.
I have examples. Please let me talk. Okay, I listen to a lot of Stephen King books, and he does this a lot. Sometimes he'll use a word, like a very sort of obscure word, throughout a book. In one of his latest books, the one that's that's about the Kennedy assassination, he uses the word obdurate a lot, which is a word that I'd never heard before, but he uses it several times throughout the book, and he does this in several other books. I can't think of the particular examples, but he used another like obscure word a lot, and from a Buick 8. Anyway, it's like weird that he would only use these certain words for this one book, and then like multiple times throughout, and then not in any of others. But there are some that he does use throughout many books. Like he will often say that something takes off like a big ass bird, or good enough for government work. That's the thing where, even someone who writes a lot and is supposedly a good author, debatably.
He's a good author.
But I mean, I like him.
Part of the reason why he's such a good author is because of the sheer volume of
Yeah.
works that he has produced. So when it comes to that, then yes, you get a lot of repeating, and that's something I can understand.
Yeah, he's so prolific. It would be sort of hard not for him to repeat himself eventually. But it is like a thing you have to work at. Most authors are really cognizant of that. The way that some people try to avoid is just by writing different types of things every time.
Yeah.
That would not be something that Stephen King does.
Well.
Don't get me wrong, I like him a lot. Okay. I mean, he does write a lot of different types of writing, but I think that the tone stays largely the same.
Once he wrote what was basically a Sherlock Holmes fan fiction, which was pretty cool. Anyway, we should probably get back to the thing.
Let's move on. It's Cherrydoom's turn to say some words.
Okay, she describes almost being caught by Christian's mother while they were in flagrante delicto. This is Latin. I looked it up. It means in burning offense. And I just said, indeed.
The equivalent in English would be like caught red-handed.
She describes, he's wearing a black leather jacket. He certainly doesn't look like the multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever heir in these clothes, which is just like so silly. I'm so silly. I don't know how much money he has. It's so much I can't even quantify it. Whatever heir.
Whatever heir.
Yeah, I'm really starting to wonder about her characterization based on some of the things that like Yale James has her say. Because there are times when it really feels like Yale James wants to make her out to be dumb.
I mean, you can be a silly girl and still be smart.
A silly girl.
But this is like really out of character with other things that she's done, where it's like in line with other ways that she's been blasé about certain things she should probably be concerned about, like the NDA and stuff like that.
This is sad, but the first thing I thought about when Anastasia was like, he's in a leather jacket with a messenger bag, is I thought of Roosevelt.
Oh my god. And he's very tall.
He's very tall.
Well, now we need to get Roosevelt to go back and read some lines as Christian Grey.
Oh, Jesus.
That would, oh god. I mean, he has the wrong accent, basically.
No, I mean, it would be so funny.
It would be funny with his voice.
That is the point.
For those of you who don't know who Roosevelt is,
He was a president.
he's president. To some of you, he's Let's Play famous.
The president of LPs.
And to some others of you, he's just a Twitter guy. That's who he is.
And he's got a very deep voice with a Philadelphia accent. So next, Mother, this is Anastasia Steele. Anastasia, this is Grace Trevelyan Gray. Dr. Trevelyan Gray holds her hand out to me. Okay, I was really confused at first because I was like, what? How does she know she's a doctor? They didn't introduce her as a doctor. How does she know? And then I went back and looked at the interview and then at their conversation in the coffee shop, and he very briefly mentions that his mother is a pediatrician. Okay, and I was like, okay, fine. I thought I'd uncovered some amazing continuity mistake, but I guess not. I just thought it was weird that she immediately knew that she was a doctor. I mean, maybe she's just very observant and remembered that thing that he said as a throwaway line. I probably would have forgotten it.
It was a fluke, though.
Yeah. All right. His eyes burn, their intensity takes my breath away. And then 6 lines later, What's vanilla sex, I ask, if anything to distract myself from the intense, burning, sexy look he's giving me. Just like burning intensity, burning intensely. God, I'm so fucking...
Why do you ask about sex to distract yourself from a sexy look?
Good point.
Answer me that.
My first time was horrid, she continues, making a... this is Kate. My first time was horrid, she continues, making a sad comedy face. Was this supposed to be like the comedy and tragedy faces? That face?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But still, that's like a...
It's like really sad.
I guess I can sort of see like, I can sort of, okay, now I can picture it like a over exaggerated look of like disgust and tragedy. Okay, yeah, I can see.
Yeah,
now.
well,
it's a funny sentence. It's very it's very confusing.
Yeah, especially because it says sad and then comedy.
Well, she could be making like an over the top sad face,
exactly,
which is also one way to read it. Yeah, Chad's turn for thing to
Hello.
say.
Here are my thingies that I will say about. Well, page 149. Anna says like he looks like a boy from the wrong side of the tracks. That's just a funny phrase. It's a very old classic phrase, by which I mean no one uses it anymore. And also it speaks of a certain sort of like inherent classicism, like wrong side of the track sort of thing. And the fact that he's like wearing like a leather jacket, and that's like how Anna characterizes him as like a James Dean type. Yeah, really, really old fashioned. Page 152. He smiles his dazzling head cocked to one side smile, and my stomach pole vaults over my spleen. That's perfectly okay, aside from being a hilarious sentence. But when I first read it, because of the way the pole vault was split, I read it as stomach pole. My stomach pole vaults over my spleen. And I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense to me. And then I read the sentence again, and I was like, it makes sense now.
Why does a stomach pole?
I don't know. That's why I was so confused.
It's so gross if you think about it, because then her stomach will swing around to the back of her spine, use the spine, and pole vault over the spleen. We're talking at least death here. At least death.
At least death. Page 157. She just keeps using her nickname for Christians, like BDSM room, which she keeps referring to as the Red Room of Pain. And then there's a few other things that Anastasia nicknames, and I just like personally I don't really like nicknaming things this way, and also she's really unimaginative. She gives them like really kind of boring nicknames, so it especially sticks out to me because it just, why not just be more descriptive, or there's just something that really comes off as sort of quaint to me. It's just a personal thing, though.
Yeah, well, I sort of agree. I think that it's kind of like dumb and like too just overmuch wacky, like, oh, yes. But my second thought is that Red Room of Pain, I tend to think of the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks.
I do too.
So that's
yeah.
very evocative for me, but only for me. Nobody else.
That's not necessarily true. That's very egotistical.
I think that it is.
I think of the same thing.
I was kidding.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding too. I don't mean anything that I say ever.
Oh boy.
This book is great. I love this book.
I love this book!
Okay, moving on. Page 159, where Kate is talking about her first time, and she says something, blah, 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 Steve Patrone. Patrone's a weird last name. High school, dickless jock. And I was just like, yeah, that would probably make things difficult for a first time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, what is meant by that? I guess dickless isn't like terrible.
I know I know what she means, but like the following up when she's talking about her first time, it really makes it just sound like he just didn't have a penis.
Right, and he had no understanding, so he just was like fumbling, like, is this sex? Is this sex?
Like, one, that's really harsh of Kate. Like, if that's the case, wow. She's like, it was terrible because this guy just didn't have a penis. What an asshole.
That's rude. Some guys don't have penises. But on the other hand, usually the guys with penises know what to do when they don't have a penis. But this guy sounds like he was kind of...
Wait, what? That confused me for a moment.
Saying words.
No, never mind. She calls him dickless and gutless, but she also says that he was rough and she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. What does she mean?
It doesn't make sense.
It means like he was a coward and that he did not wait.
Like he just shoved it in. Like,
yeah.
Or maybe like he did not he was like too cowardly to like apologize afterward or something. I don't know. I kind of want to know more about it.
Yeah, I wish that more had happened. I guess we'll pass over it in the Kate section.
We'll have to write E.L. James to find out the truth.
What happened, E.L. James?
Okay, and then this is the last one for wording. Page 163. What is it about the gray man? What is it about the gray man? What is it about the green man? What is it about aliens? What is it? And she uses, the main thing is that she uses what is it about so many times. in the course of that, just like that page, what is it about, comes up, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
And it's one of those phrases that she uses constantly. It's the only way that she knows how to express some sort of like disbelief or...
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
She's in full flow with this. What is it about?
She is indeed. And that's all for me.
Okie dokie. Well, now we're on to the sort of main meat of our podcast, the situational stupidities of this book. I'll start first with a general complaint. I think that this chapter could have been split up considerably, or just like, rearranged what happens when. It drags on and on and on, and there's too much exposition. Too many things demand our attention. You have the thing with Jose, you have the thing with Kate, you have the thing with Christian, and you have the thing with his mother. And then there's like the car ride, there's the fucking molestation restaurant. Yeah, so it's just like, all right, you need to pick and choose. Like you're throwing too much at once. I would have maybe kept it to just Kate. And then like maybe Jose as a cliffhanger.
I can sort of see this as a fan fiction problem.
Yeah,
you want to give your readers a lot, but when you're doing serial updates, you can't. People want more, So they want to see a lot happening because they're going to have to wait before they get to read the next part.
It smacks of like one chapter released after the other. So like, oh, here's a triple update. Not triple. Next, it's a quote this time. Another first, he acknowledges, but I have no idea what he's talking about. And for that matter, we don't have any idea what he's talking about either. So if you want me to give you more context, I can. It's
Well, no, he's talking about introducing her to his mother, right?
Oh, maybe. See, okay, so, but there's nothing that would indicate that. So here it is. Come on, we need to get dressed if you want to meet my mother. That's like 10 lines before this. Blah, blah, blah. They get, Christian, I can't move. He unties her. Another first, he acknowledges, but I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was really, I didn't know what it meant either.
So is he referring to her lack of movement?
I wonder if that is what it is. But she should know. It's certainly not the first time in her life that she hasn't moved. She probably has gone to bed and stuff.
Did you say that you had an explanation for this?
No, I just wanted to know what everybody else thought. I mean, it could be the mother.
Oh.
I think that's a really good...
Well, I mean, because, later he talks about how this is a weekend of firsts, and he adds the mother thing.
That's really oblique, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
God, who knows?
Who even knows? So the next point of interest is Christian's horrible mood swings. I made a list. It's an 11-point list of the moods that he goes through in the course of the half-ish time he spends in the chapter. So here we go. 1. He's nice when she's gonna meet them up. 2. He's cold after the phone call with Jose. 3. He snaps at Rawls during the Darfur call. 4. Then he's suddenly soft and anxious when he's giving her the contract. Oh, look it over. I really hope you'll do it. And then 5. After she says, I'll just make a call before they go, his jaw clenches, and his quiet, chilling tone is a warning, and later she refers to it as an outburst, because he thinks it's about Jose. And then 6. He's polite and distant. And 7, when they go in the elevator to go to the car, his mood seems to finally be shifting to more cutesy and humorous, and it stays that way for a while when they're in the car. But then when they get to the weird hipster restaurant, after he orders the wine, he snaps at Anastasia, because she's like, oh, wait, I wanted a Diet Coke. And this is kind of the turning point of his mood. He brings up all these serious things, and then he threatens to eat. And then he has this burning sincerity, and then a scowl, and then maybe at the very end he's shocked because she has her underwear, but I didn't include that point. How does he switch so quickly from one mood to the next? He's so mercurial. It's hard to keep up. No kidding.
I wonder if this is women want men to be more in touch with their emotions.
I would not want a guy to be this emotional.
Yeah, obviously, but I mean, I wonder if it's some sort of fantasy like that.
I just don't know. I mean, to me, it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that is that, I mean, it's not like he's just being emotional. It's the way that Anna talks about it is he has extreme emotions.
Possessive.
Yeah, I don't think that's what people want out of emotionality. It's not suddenly you're intensely angry or jealousy, burning jealousy.
It reminds me more of anything than somebody who's abusive. You don't know where you are standing with them, and then suddenly they turn on you.
Unpredictable
Definitely.
mood swings. Yeah.
During the course of this mood thing, after he yells at her about snaps at her about the Coke, Christian tells Anastasia that he was molested. I'm calling it that because that's probably what it is, because he was not old enough to consent.
I will read it.
You want to read it? Okay, go ahead.
One of my mother's friends seduced me when I was 15. She had very particular tastes. I was her submissive for 6 years.
And then she kind of is shocked, but she's not mean about it. She's just shocked.
Yeah.
Okay, so having learned this, if we were Anastasia, would we maybe chill it out with Christian and kind of think about this? And okay, so just to qualify that, I have a lot of sympathy for people who are sexually abused. It's a horrible, scary thing. And I'm not saying that former victims shouldn't like be allowed to be in relationships or that shouldn't be in relationships. It's really important. But it can lead to a lot of bad things like unhealthy emotional relationships. You find yourself replaying your trauma over and over again.
Yep.
You get PTSD, you take anger out on others, or you do it to yourself, you self-harm. You stay stuck in the role of the victim. Like, I could go on. But it's when your trauma goes untreated. And with Christian, I kind of seem to think that it's not only this, by the way, it's whatever's going on with, like, the don't touch me thing.
The way he talks about it, he doesn't sound like, I mean, maybe he's just in really hardcore denial, but it doesn't sound like he's, like, resentful, or I don't know. It doesn't sound like
he sounds grateful.
He sounds like, we're very good friends now.
Right. That's not a healthy view of what happened.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people use BDSM as basically therapy, like submissives who were abused will be replaying the fantasy. It's where they're in the situation again, but this time they can enjoy it. They know what's going on,
exactly.
And they are more in control, even though that they're in the submissive position, which they really do have control because they can stop whenever they want.
Right, perfectly put. It's because that it's a replaying of the situation, but it's one in which they have agency rather than having it being taken away from them. You said something about Christian where he doesn't seem to process that perhaps it was like a assault type deal, and so I actually had a little point about that, which is that the sexual assault of men or sexual molestation, it's usually overlooked or brushed off by society, even by victims themselves. And I'm thinking there was an article probably last year, because it's 2014 now, by Olivia A. Cole. She had this article about Chris Brown's sexual abuse. He got interviewed by some bigger news thing. He was abused when he was 8. Chris Brown sees it as proof of his machismo or his sexual potency. It is abuse because 8 is too young to consent, regardless of the sexual feelings you have or whatever. It's just, I mean, or is it? I don't know if it is. And so I was going to get your comments, everybody's thoughts on this. Like, I do not think this is cool. I think that if you are not old enough to consent, your frontal lobes are still coming together, even as a teen. It just is not something, it really ruins people's lives, I think he goes on to say that, it really, it made my life very stable.
They're talking about why he never dated anyone in college. I didn't want to. She was all I needed. And besides, she'd have beaten the shit out of me. Which is pretty... I mean, I don't know, what the exact sounds like. If he was her submissive, then it was, they talked about it at least.
Well, we can flesh it out in the spoiler dungeon, because I know a little bit about it, and I could also bring up additional stuff. But Chad, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys have said. However, I think that the reason that Anna doesn't really have any pause is because she's so self-absorbed.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, she does have pause. She's like, oh, he was molested, but she doesn't really...
I thought she was more in shock about it.
She was, and then later she's like, he was molested, and I'll talk about this later, but go ahead.
Yeah, she does. It does come up. No, yeah, that's true. I was thinking of something different.
Okay.
Okay. We could talk about Tampa. Okay, Tampa is, I think you read it too, though.
I can comment on it.
It is a book by someone. It is a novel by Alyssa Nutting about a sociopath teacher who... Female teacher who basically plans her whole life around getting into a teaching position so that she can molest adolescent boys. It's really graphically written, and it's very sad and horrifying, but it's
horrible, yeah.
It's, very characterizes the relationship of boy is not... The way that it's portrayed in the book, I mean, you pretty much have to feel horror, but the way that other people, I guess, treat it in the book is she has to pick a boy that's not going to brag to his friends. Like what you were saying about that kid he saw it as a mark of his sexual prowess.
Yeah.
When they're in court later, asking the kid if he wanted it or not, and he confesses that he did. And it's a very strange thing about how men can be victimized.
Right.
By the patriarchy, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose you could say patriarchy. I mean, whatever it is, it kind of showed how the main character was able to sort of manipulate people through her own sexuality.
Yeah.
Which, she's very attractive and everything. And by the way, I need to mention that this author knew some famous... child molester in Florida, who's a woman and also very attractive, very much like the main character of this book. And so to reframe Christian's experience and in the terms of Tampa is like, it's super disgusting
Yeah.
now. Like if you thought it was just like kind of bad, no, it's really bad. And we will get to see, spoilers, we will get to see this character later who did this to him.
Oh, there was something from Tampa that I meant to bring this up a long time
Sure, you can
ago,
bring it up.
but there's the line that keeps happening about how things keep hanging off hips in that way and 50
Oh,
Shades.
ew.
And there's like one specific thing in Tampa where the narrator describes the shorts hanging off
Like
of
they
one
could
of the
just
boys.
slip off at any time. Like, oh, I remember.
Yeah, but the way that she does it, she actually describes like why it would be interesting or like appealing, as opposed to E.L. James, who's like in that way,
Oh man.
just as a contrast to the
Yeah.
writing quality.
A bad book, a good book.
Even it's also really creepy. So I actually, before we moved on, I wanted to expand on what I said about Anna being self-absorbed. She is more conscientious than I think probably most people would be. Like, she's characterized that way as being somewhat more open-minded and sympathetic to other people. But the overall problem, I can't really say whether or not it's a problem because I still haven't finished the book, but based on the tone of the writing and like the sort of heading down the dark path of lust and sex, basically like she's too self-interested in like her own physical pleasures and lust to do what she thinks would be better for her, which would just be like get away from Christian and like,
Well, better for her, but possibly also better for Christian, if you think about it.
yes, if you think about it, but I'm talking about in terms of her character.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, obviously from our perspective, it would be better.
But that builds on the self-centered thing.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like,
that's what I mean.
from our perspective, it would be better if she got away from Christian, if given his past history and
But like for his sake,
possibility
not for her sake.
I mean, it's obvious that he needs like maybe therapy or something, but don't you think that this is the safest way for him to sexually deal with what happened to him?
Yes and no.
It's hard to say because he's obviously never had any counseling.
That's okay.
There's no way for us to know if it's the best way for him to deal with it, and there's no way for him
He
to
never
know.
tried all his options out, I think is what you're trying to say. So it wouldn't be...
Right, like he's admitted that he's never done anything. Like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with BDSM
Right.
or BDSM as like therapy, but he's never had anything else. He's never talked to anyone about it. He's so emotionally closed off, and he's probably suffered some trauma. Anna could still be in a relationship with him, but she needs to back off on any of this stuff.
Right.
Like, she can't
Yeah.
just be self-interested about like getting off now.
He's trying to pull her too much into things, and it's not dealing face to face with issues. And also the nature of the BDSM that they do partake in at times in the book, and I'm thinking one particular time is not what I would call like a healthy BDSM. I don't think that we talk so much about the boundaries being set in stone and stuff. I think at one point like he's like flogging her maybe, and then, or maybe not flogging, it might just be like tease and denial or something with orgasming, and he admits that like he wasn't going to stop tease and denial, even though she was like, it was not within her power to continue mentally. So it's just, it's somebody who is not ready to do those things is the feeling that I get.
Okay, I see.
The overall tone, as I've said a couple times, is just that there's some amount of danger to it. Like, Christian himself is like, oh, you should stay away from me. Kate's like, oh, there's something about him. And the whole characterization of his interests, his fetishes, is that it's dangerous. There's like something wrong about it.
Well, that's the thing.
It's obvious.
You have to wonder, maybe the thing that's wrong about it is that he's not in a good position to do it, and everybody can pick up on that,
Exactly.
even though he has all these social signifiers of power.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
like,
really interesting.
It's an extension of like something unhealthy about him rather than
BDSM itself, I see.
For the purposes of the book, it's obviously because it's an exoticism. But tying into this stuff, that it could be that sort of thing.
Wow. That was a really good discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing, is it the last? No, I have two more things. Here we go. So after that excellent conversation that we're not going to top, quote, he could sue if I disclose too much. What's he gonna do? Take all my money? I must remember to Google, quote, penalties for breaching a non-disclosure agreement while doing the rest of my research. So here we are. Just like Chad mentioned a few episodes ago, there could be drastic effects as a result of breaking the NDA, and just now reading it out loud, like, what's he gonna do? Like, yeah, he is gonna do that. She's only just now considering the consequences in a humorous light. I think that he can basically make her super poor if she says anything, as we had discussed a couple episodes ago.
What's more, she's like, I need to Google what the penalties could be. The penalties could be anything. They'd be laid out.
Google it.
Like, they'd be laid out in the NDA.
It'd be the terms of the
should have
contract.
read it.
What a dummy!
It could be anything.
She's naive and innocent.
Naive. Innocent. Okay, so this last one, just brought up for the listeners' sake. You will need to know this for future episodes. There's more book bullshit, the Thomas Hardy book bullshit. Anna says to Kay that she's going to return them to Christian. So remember that. She's going to return them to Christian, she says. This tired old plotline is still kicking around, and it has some minor importance later. So just remember that.
Later when Thomas Hardy shows up and he's like, where are my books?
Where are
and
my
then,
books?
Becomes just like a globe-trotting thriller about Christian trying to save Anna from the clutches of Thomas Hardy.
Oh, I just got a really great idea.
What is it?
She opens the book. Okay, they have a big fight, and
You could just end there. They have a big fight.
they have a
say
big
it.
fight, and Anna's like, "Why won't you let me in?" And he's like, "If you only had the key." And then she's like, maybe she's like mad, and she's throwing stuff around. She throws the book, and the book falls open, and it's been hollowed out. And there's a key in it, the key to his heart.
The super 80s.
I love how that goes because it also implies that she did not read the books.
Exactly. Well, she's already read the books. She's an expert on
Yeah.
them.
Why wouldn't she check for like version changes and stuff?
I don't know.
Wonder that.
Yeah,
And then Anna breaks up with him because she's like, why would you haul out a $14,000 book?
he's got money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to mine. So why is Christian so excited to introduce Anna to his mom? He's like grinning a whole lot. Shouldn't he at least be a little weirded out by the super awkward situation that like he heard his mom while he was inside Anna? That's super weird. I mean, and I guess it's because he's like excited to prove to his mom that he's not gay. But
Yeah, but that, I have a problem with that.
yeah, I agree.
I believe that is some latent, I'm not going to say maybe homophobia is the wrong word, but using gay as a punchline.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gay after all. Like, it's okay. And then see, even that was funny.
I mean, maybe.
But it was for different reasons. It was funny.
I was a little confused by all of that in terms of whether or not he really cared, because it doesn't seem. I don't think that he cares.
Yeah, I agree with
because if
that
he did,
too.
like, if he did care, he'd have he could just fake
Yeah.
it. Like, he could just get some girl. It would not be a problem for him.
But I think that he shows up to things with like dates and stuff. So like I think his parents would get like, oh, this is just a fake girl. This isn't a real girl. Plus that fake girl would also have to sign an NDA or something like that. Not unheard of, but maybe he just wouldn't be okay with that agreement. It's hard to say. I think using it as like a kind of humorous, and maybe this is my own secret conditioning showing through here, that I think that it is a bit too silly.
Yeah.
It's very strange
Yeah.
and silly.
I just don't know. But anyway, that was my thought about it.
I think maybe the point of this really, considering who, this is a little biased or prejudiced on my part, like who the target audience was originally, is just that it's like, oh, he's excited to show off Anna.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one
Yeah.
of those moments where it's just like, he's that kind of guy. Like, I want to show you off to my mom.
Well, like, I'm just thinking now, and we don't have to talk about this. Anastasia used to think that he was gay, too. It was not that long ago. So.
She didn't think well, yeah, she did.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she thought he was gay because, because of stereotypes. Like, he's rich, he's beautiful and young and like well groomed.
He didn't like me, he's
maybe
gay!
Girlfriend, and he didn't think he was, whatever, I don't fucking know.
I don't.
I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know.
He's not a playboy, so he's probably gay.
Everybody in this book sucks. Is the,
Yeah, pretty much.
Christian tells her to research the contract. You'll be amazed what you can find on the internet, he murmurs. And then she thinks, internet? I don't have access to a computer, only Kate's laptop, and I couldn't use the one at Clayton's. Not for this sort of research, surely. How does she not have a fucking computer or access to a computer? Not in this day and age, James.
No.
I'm sorry. College might have been different back when you went. Sorry, that's ageist, but
it's not.
I mean,
This is bad research.
it's true that most colleges have computer labs and like there are people who use them, but I just don't see that as happening.
I could only see it if Anastasia was like very poor.
Yeah, maybe she is, but she talks about, like, I don't have money. I don't know. It doesn't seem like.
We don't really have a clear picture of her background because of how they had to obscure it for the but Bella in the because I was gonna say Kristen Stewart's character, but everyone knows what her character's name is. So like from Twilight, she's pretty like working class background, but she also wasn't in college. So yeah, I sort of felt the same way when I read this. I was like, that's silly. Pretty much everyone in college is going to have a computer. But I was also sort of like, but maybe she doesn't have that much money. It's still like she could still. Usually colleges are pretty good about trying to get computers into their like students' hands.
There's like little
They
write-offs.
want them to have them. Yeah, they'll find a way.
I was going to say she would be in the computer lab all the time because she's a literature student. She'd be writing papers all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I thought another funny thing is just that, like, immediately before this, Christian's line is something like, "You'll be amazed at what you could find on the internet." And then she's like, "Internet? I don't have it." It's just, it's really like, this really is like sort of, it shows off out of touch mother sensibility, where it's like, "You'll be amazed what you can find on the internet, Anna. We're in our 20s.
I found this recipe on the internet.
I found this online. I think it's true.
I need to show you something. It's called a lolcat."
The cat has funny saying and cute. You guys have been around me. Okay, first of all, English major, yes, hello. You've been around me when I was in a paper crisis mode. It is not possible for me to handwrite those papers. That is insane.
Also, I'm pretty sure colleges do not accept handwritten papers anymore.
Fairly sure that's the case as well. I think because they explicitly say typed.
Yeah.
It is not possible to be an English major without having a computer or a college student at all. You sign up for your classes online, you get emails from your teachers, like,
oh yeah.
No, it's impossible. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Like,
if you guys, if your colleges had, or if you Blackboard, like, you cannot be in school without being able to access Blackboard. This is just dumb. I don't agree. It's stupid. She's dumb.
Anna can literally never bite her lip without arousing Christian.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna fuck you in the elevator. I'm gonna fuck you in the restaurant. I'm gonna fuck you in the car. Can you bite your lip?"
Yeah, like, Jesus, dude, get yourself under goddamn control.
I know. If domination's all about control, I think that Christian's having some problems with doing it down. I'm just saying.
He turns on the car and Bruce Springsteen is playing, and he says, "Gotta love Bruce. Do we gotta? Do we?" No, we don't.
He's ubiquitous, but he's not loved universally.
This also makes him sound like a total dad, because like he gets into his really expensive sports car, and he's like, "Bruce Springsteen," immediately comes on the radio.
He's older, but he's not that much older.
I know.
So what song was he playing? Is it "Dancing in the Dark"?
I'm pretty sure it's "I'm on Fire," because like the very first lines are something like "I'm back on fire," something we desire, like literally those lyrics. So
I don't think I've heard that song. Can somebody give me a short rendition?
There's a line about fire and "Dancing in the Dark." He's a fiery guy. Every fucking time they eat.
Anastasia,
you must eat. James just keeps finding sensitive topics to bring up so that Anna will lose her appetite immediately and she won't eat, so they can continue this fucking conversation.
Charade. This fucking farce.
Fucking game about, like, not eating. And I'm just so goddamn sick of it. And I know it's just going to keep fucking happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is.
I just want to not have it happen anymore, but it's going to happen a million times. Because they're going to eat.
Another funny thing about this conceit is that, like, are these the sorts of topics that, like, you bring up over dinner?
No.
Even if it was like someone you really knew well, would you be like out someplace and be like, "By the way, I had a relationship with..."
I think maybe that's the point, because like when you're in a public space like that, you probably don't feel so put on the spot.
Maybe. If
a couple gets divorced and they have to talk about like the kids, they usually go to a public place to meet up and talk about it, so that like shit doesn't get out of control. Think about that.
Okay.
Think about that.
That's a good point.
We already talked about the molestation. So Anna doesn't eat as they go to this fancy-ass restaurant in the middle of the forest. Heavy Twilight vibes. They get this food that has been caught that day, and then Anna doesn't eat it. And they don't box it up.
They get a thing that...
They don't take it home. They presumably just say, "We didn't want this, throw it away, please."
I know, and the whole thing about wasting food is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, why do you say that they don't take it?
Because they don't say that they do.
But that doesn't mean that they don't do it.
I guess.
I'm not saying that...
Well, then she should have had it for dinner instead of lasagna.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, but...
Anyway...
But lasagna is so great. Haven't you ever read a Garfield comic?
Yeah, I had many of the books. I fucking loved Garfield.
I would have never guessed that. That's kind of a more Calvin and Hobbes type child.
In page 159, the subconscious actually shapeshifts and morphs in front of her eyes. My subconscious glares at me, wagging her long, skinny finger, then morphs into the scales of justice to remind me he could sue me if I disclose too much. This is just so bizarre. Like, to start thinking, this is just going on in her mind. Kind of reminds me of this book called I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, about this schizophrenic girl, and it describes all of her voices. And, like, one of them is this king that's eternally falling, and he has a crown of fire, and it's just, like, really vividly detailed, and it's very much like this. Yeah, it's a good book that I never actually finished. Every time she talks to Jose, he's described as whiny and desperate. There's more like casual wine drinking. They like to drink some wine. They distinguish, drinking. Drinking is wine and champagne is casual and fine, but margaritas are low class and get you drunk and loose and not in control of your faculties.
Sounds like a Jose metaphor to me.
Yep.
That's good segue. Jose Chad. So during the course of the chapter... Oh, wait. Oh my god, Chad. You had many opportunities to cut in and you didn't. I'm blaming you, Chad. I'm blaming you.
Wait, what?
No. But Cherrydoom was done before.
I knew that was going to happen.
Before I said those words.
Oh. Okay, the very first page of the chapter where he just pulls on his jeans without any underwear on right after they were... That's gross.
Yeah, he did come. Oh no, ew.
Anna on page 149, she notes that Christian is carrying a leather messenger bag, and she's like, "Why does he need that?" It's like, what? I wonder if she's pointing it out just because it will come up later. But it's a stupid question. Why does she care? He's got a job as a corporate CEO. Who knows what he needs it for? What? It's just a bag.
You're just a bag.
Oh. Okay, I'm done.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Are you really done? Are you actually?
He only just said one thing.
I don't think that baseball cap and Ray-Bans with a leather jacket is that great of a look, but it's not that bad of a look either. Yeah, the restaurant's that doesn't make sense because if it's a real restaurant, an actual place that people go to other than just Christian Grey, and it's not just some place that he runs with his own money, they wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to catch and serve stuff that way because there's way too many laws about that exact thing. It'd be fine for them to gather vegetables and serve them later, but they wouldn't be able to do it all that day. You can't run a restaurant that way. It's why it's so difficult to get local ingredients at a restaurant extremely fresh. You can get them relatively fresh. It's not the same as going to a farmer's market, and it's why you can't get meat in particular, local meat, local beef or local bison or buffalo meat, local turkey meat, because meat especially has to go through a lot of procedures in order to get packed and inspected, and can't do it that way. And it gets distributed randomly. So
right, this would have to be some illegal place that nobody else knows about, basically.
Yeah, where they went and killed a deer and then immediately served it. They have to be somebody's house, basically, which it could be, but there's a waitress, so it's not. But again, it could just be maybe Christian just secretly runs this place with his money. Then there's the wine stuff. There's nothing wrong with the wine in general, just the Pinot Grigio, but Christian explicitly is it'll go with everything, which is Pinot Grigio won't necessarily go with everything. Maybe if it's the only wine, then I guess all the food is going to have to go with it. So, okay. She also, this is in contrast to earlier when she's very explicitly names the type of wine that they're drinking. She doesn't give a winery or a wine company or a vintage or anything on this particular wine. It's just a Pinot Grigio. Yes. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I don't know anything about
It did strike me as a little bit weird, except that I don't know what goes with venison. I actually kind of stay away from it because I have my sister's boyfriend. He goes hunting with his family. And they always bring home deer jerky and stuff, and it's just you don't know what was in that deer. You don't know what that deer was doing. Don't drink wine with that deer. Maybe you'll die.
That wine will murder you, or that deer will murder you.
The combination of the deer and the wine is not divine.
Yeah,
man.
Deer have no self-control. Give them a little too much wine, they'll go crazy.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the question stuff comes up again. Oh no, that question from the interview. Is that ever going to go away? Spoiler dungeon.
Maybe. Not telling because we're not there yet.
Okay, this is another thing about the restaurant. When they get the soup, which is nettle soup, Anna says that they both stare at it dubiously. Why is Christian worried about the soup? Well, obviously he's been here before, and he trusts the place well enough to come back, and he thinks the food is good, and he trusts their why is he suspicious of the soup?
Maybe because it's called nettle
Well, maybe
soup.
It looks weird.
Well, nettle soup is green, but I mean, we talked pretty in depth about the molestation thing, but another thing that I thought was funny that Anna didn't react to was that it was it's not there's really any sort of reaction you can have, but it was one of his mom's friends. She doesn't comment on that at all, how they knew each other. And I guess this may be more appropriate for Kate Chat, where she makes a comment about Jose and Christian Grey, about them both hitting on her, basically. That's all. I'm done.
Jose Chat. Jose comes up a couple times in this chapter. They have fun conversations. I want us to judge whether we think his actions and the things that he says are reasonable or unreasonable. So in order to achieve this, I've prepared a reading for us to do. Ah!
Oh, I have one line under Jose Chat, and it's I don't like Jose. That's all I have to say. Dios mia, Anna. Where have you been? I've been trying to contact you. I need to see you to apologize for my behavior on Friday. Why haven't you returned my calls?
Wait,
No, we're
I'm
not,
sorry.
we're not.
I didn't realize we were actually starting.
No, I was just doing a fake.
Okay, so without further ado, here we are. The Phone Calls by E.L. James.
Dios mia, Anna. Where have you been? I've been trying to contact you. I need to see you to apologize for my behavior on Friday. Why haven't you returned my calls?
Look, Jose, now's not a good time.
Where are you? Kate is being so evasive.
I'm in Seattle.
What are you doing in Seattle? Are you with him?
Jose, I'll call you later. I can't talk to you right now. Okay, so in the meantime, Kate says that Jose left a million in calls. Calling every hour on the hour. I quote. Here we go. Here's the next act 2 of Phone Calls.
Anna, you're back!
Obviously.
Can I see you? I'm sorry about Friday night. I was drunk and you, well, Anna, please forgive me.
Of course I forgive you, Jose. Just don't do it again. You know I don't feel like that about you.
I know, Anna. I just thought if I kissed you, it might change how you feel.
Jose, I love you dearly. You mean so much to me. You're like the brother I never had. That's not going to change. You know that.
So you're with him now.
Jose, I'm not with anybody.
You spent the night with him.
That is none of your business.
Is it the bunny?
Jose, how dare you!
Anna.
Maybe we can have a coffee or something tomorrow. I'll call you.
Tomorrow then, you'll call?
Yes. Good night, Jose. I put my head in my hands. Jose and Christian, they both want something from me. Jose is easy to deal with. How could you say that he's easy to deal with after that horrible 2 conversations of him being so clingy? How do we feel about his behavior, by the way? Is it reasonable? Unreasonable?
Yes, I agree that he should be trying to apologize, but he should not be trying to apologize this hard and fervently.
Well, he's apologizing, but he's also kind of trying to shame her, you dislike him because he's rich.
He's not really trying to apologize. He's still trying to get in there.
Yeah.
He's just
I guess you're right.
I'm sorry, and that's right. That's fine, right? So you'll meet me again, right? We're cool, right? That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Not cool.
And he's super aggressive about it.
Yeah, I really did not like that. It sat so badly with me. A total beta male response, by the way.
Yeah, he's accusing her of being a fake girlfriend girl.
A fake girlfriend girl.
Because he's you're just in it for the money, right?
Oh, right. So a gold digger, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was trying to make him sound like a terrible nerd, beta
Right.
nerd.
All right, Kate chat! Kate and Elliot are getting along super well. It's kind of weird when Anastasia and Kate touch base for the first time after all this stuff has happened. Because, just of how different they are at this point. Anna is all internally conflicted, and Kate is really happy, there's nothing wrong. She's not she doesn't seem like the way that Anna is. She has to read this contract. Christian was all mood swing manatee earlier. So I just thought this section was interesting because it draws such a big contrast between the two of them again. And maybe it's unintentional because I don't think the author's artistry could possibly be that great. But it's just very clear that Kate is a happier, more well-adjusted person. By the way, she's going to Barbados for 2 weeks, not the Bahamas, like I've been saying every fucking episode. I just took a class on Caribbean literature. You would think that I would know better, is all that I have to say. I'm very ashamed. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, Professor.
Why? This hasn't been mentioned before.
No, it has not.
And I wonder why. That she's going to Barbados, it's just brought up now. And I wonder why. Why is she being written out of it at this point?
Well, she will be here for a couple more chapters yet. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
It's just being, I think she's most absent in the second book, if I'm recalling correctly. They're just giving an excuse for her to later be gone. And I think that when you're writing fan fiction or if you're just writing on the fly, you need at some point to introduce that when you're okay, Kate needs to go.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is.
But I mean, why does she need to go? I guess that's a spoiler dungeon. What are they setting it up for for him to like fuck her in every room in the apartment or something, the new apartment, or like maybe he'll do some objectification and pack her away in one of the moving boxes.
I can answer this without being a spoiler because I don't really remember. I can speculate and say that they have to set it up for Anastasia's own character development. When Kate is there, you can see that she is a strong personality, and I think that if you have too much support from the friends, like it doesn't feel real, the growth, maybe. I mean, I don't think that's true, but maybe this is what James is thinking. The fact that she's going to be gone now means that Anastasia will be more on her own, and it won't be because Christian has like made her alienate everybody from her life or something like that. It's like a real reason.
Interesting.
Her Kate is leaving, yes. So that's my answer. So to give a little context for my next point.
We've already talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, we already talked about it. So Kate's talking about the first time she lost her virginity. And she says, yeah, took almost a year to have my first orgasm through penetrative sex. And here you are. First time. End
Man,
quote.
I think like you should probably take a break if you gotta go for a whole year. Like just one person the whole time.
I don't think it was... Well, I was about to say I didn't think it was one person, but that's sort of rude of me to assume, isn't it?
Well, I was making a joke that she just was continuously having sex for a year in order to have an orgasm.
Why isn't it working? That's terrible, man. Well, she's sure that girl has got she's very tenacious.
That sounds like a much more interesting book than 50 Shades. You just read a book where a character is like constantly checking their watch, like, okay, this is day 5, still up here.
Writing the journal whilst doing stuff. No orgasm yet.
Like that Chuck Palahniuk book,
Oh,
Snuff.
God.
I have not read any Chuck Palahniuk books.
They all end the same way. You think someone has died, but it turns out that they are alive.
The thing I wanted to focus on here is that Kate and Anastasia can both orgasm through... Oops, I said that word weird.
Orgasm.
Kate and Anastasia can both orgasm through penetrative sex. That's actually pretty uncommon. According to the study that I was looking at, rather the articles that deal with the study that I was looking at, only 25% of women experience orgasm through intercourse alone. And this is a study by Kim Wallen. I looked pretty hard for the actual documentation and I couldn't find it. So if I'm like incorrectly interpreting or somebody has something to add to that, like if you would just email the podcast, I would appreciate that a lot.
Holycast@gmail.com, by the way.
Yeah, it's holycast@gmail.com, as she just said. It's pretty rare. I know that this is an erotica book and that, pleasure should be maximized, to say the least. Like, why did they even bring that up in the first place?
I think it's just to show that that Christian is super good at sex. Or that Anastasia is also super good at sex.
That is true. Actually,
She's real good at just laying there doing nothing.
Has this...
Because that's what she's done both times.
Well, she gave a blowjob.
That wasn't her having an orgasm.
Yeah. True.
That's what I mean. Like...
Okay.
Well, she wasn't working towards her own. You gotta bootstrap your own orgasms, my friend, for it to be a real one. My final point about Kate. There's a quote here. What was that all about? Catherine demands, her hands on her hips. I decide honesty is the best policy. She's looking more intractable than ever. Jose, made a pass at me on Friday. So this is weird. This is a weird use of Catherine. She's been Kate in every other sentence. I don't understand why she decided to change it now. And, that wasn't exactly being honest about the situation. Like, made a pass isn't like he cornered me, he wouldn't stop kissing me, and I barfed in the flowers and Christian had to save me.
Well, I think it's still sort of her downplaying it, and...
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
This is also weird for another reason. This shouldn't be the first time that they're talking about it. Kate had a sense... We had assumed earlier that they probably talked about it because Kate was helping her dodge Jose's phone calls. But now apparently she hasn't.
Right.
So Anna has just kept this to herself the whole time. Kate doesn't have any idea why Jose's upset with her, why she's upset with Jose. And now she's being really dodgy about it. She's like, oh, he made a pass at me.
Kate, being all smart, can probably sense that there's more to the story, but she's probably so euphoric on the Elliot thing that she doesn't give a shit.
In this same conversation, like, Kate is then also like, wow, Jose and Christian Grey? Like, oh, your pheromones must be working overtime. Anna's had a couple different guys hanging around that have been trying to get her to go on dates with them, so it's not like this is new, but...
But she probably wasn't telling Kate about them because she downplays them in her mind.
But I think Kate has a sense for... She would have to have some sense for...
Well, like she's probably like, oh, Anna, you're gorgeous. Oh, the men love you. But she probably doesn't know about, like, specific instances.
She and Jose and Anna have hung out as a group before. I just don't see any way that, like, it wouldn't have come up that she would have been able to tell that Jose has, like, a huge crush on Anna and also is...
Well, I think that she knows.
Yeah. We can't say. There is no past in this.
Yeah, it's hard.
In this
It's hard
book,
to say.
so.
We may get more insight on it, but I think it's safe to assume that we won't.
Christian mentions Kate having his balls if she knew what he wanted to do with Anna. Does Christian see Kate for the dom she is meant to be, but probably never will be?
Yeah, I bet he does.
Why can't Anna think of anything to describe Kate as besides tenacious? She brings it up every time Kate comes up, like, oh no, she's gonna be tenacious and I have to deal with her tenacity. She's so tenacious. Okay, she does say intractable and other things, but still, it's just...
E.L. James was cursed by a wizard, and she has to reuse every phrase that she uses.
Anna has a couple of internships, interviews. Kate says, I told you your GPA would open doors, Anna. Kate, of course, already has an intern set up at the Seattle Times. Her father knows someone who knows someone. It sort of sounds like she's only getting a job through her connections, but then it turns out that she's the valedictorian, and she needs to be working on her valedictorian speech. But then Anna is the big nerd who's always studying. I mean, maybe Kate's just naturally smarter and doesn't need to study.
Yeah, maybe Kate is gifted.
Yeah.
I think the thing we're supposed to take away from this is that Kate has gotten everything handed to her, except, but yeah, like she's valedictorian, so I don't know. It's really weird. Kate's characterization is still inconsistent and blah, blah, blah.
Kate's middle name is Agnes. Her initials are K-A-K. Anna's middle name is Rose. Her initials are A-R-S. Discuss if you think that there's anything left to be discussed.
Sac. I tried really hard to make anagrams out of this, but that's all I got. And sac, S-A-K, is not a word.
It just sort of looks like cock and arse.
Cat! Arse!
Another anagram is Crask.
Crask.
There you go. That's my contribution. Yet again, Kate is encouraging Anna's relationship with Christian while expressing reservations. She's like, how did it go? Was it good? Also, there's just something about him. Like, Be careful, Anna. But it's great. But be careful. Like, I don't... What message is he trying to send Anna?
What indeed? I think she wants to be supportive of her friend, but I think that she also wants to point out that Christian isn't cool.
Okay, she wants to be supportive of her friend, but couldn't she also just be like, maybe you should stay away, like, he's dangerous.
You see, she could have put it in a little bit more of a, here's what I would have said if it was my friend. It's really great that you get to be in the sexual relationship, but, be careful. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Christian, who, maybe I have my qualms with. Anytime a relationship is moving too fast, it's always good to take a step back, think about it a little bit. That's what I would say to her. This is not what Kate says, because she's, I guess, more polite.
Well, not only that, but that's not what Kate is, like, trying to say, I don't think. That's not, like, I don't think she's being supportive in that way. I think she's basically just saying, like, Christian's dangerous. But then she's also like, but your relationship is fun, but Christian's dangerous. Like, and I'm excited that you like a guy, but Christian's dangerous. It's really, I don't like it. It's stupid and very incoherent.
Favorite line! Yeah!
2 glasses of the Pinot Grigio.
Christian says with a voice of authority. I purse my lips, exasperated.
What?
He snaps. I wanted a Diet Coke, I whisper. He's trying really hard to do a Jesse and James voice. I just think that's so funny! I could not get over it. Like, like, we must have wine. Like, I wanted a soda! And then he gets so mad about it, too. It's just not okay.
He wants her to be classy.
Yeah, but she's not.
She's a little gutter ragamuffin.
So I took her to that restaurant where they serve venison and nettle soup.
And she wanted a Diet Coke. It shows the worst side of both of them. I think that's why it's my favorite.
Okay, so they're talking about... She's asking what vanilla sex is. And then he basically says, oh, it's just, plain sex. Basically what we did. Nothing special. And then she's like, well, geez. She thinks, well, geez, I thought it was chocolate fudge brownie sex that we had with a cherry on top. But hey, what do I know? I just thought that was, like, super trite and very, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of, like, what I would see that in.
Well, you know what it sounds like to me? Remember the whole bedroom-bathroom thing last episode?
Yeah.
It has that weird cadence again, like, I thought it was chocolate fudge brownie sex that we had with the cherry on top, but hey, what do I know? It's so, like, and it reads very much like something that was supposed to be edited to something more graceful, but it never was.
But hey, what do I know? I don't know. Maybe sounds like something that would be said in Saved by the Bell, and that would get a huge laugh from the laugh track.
Some sort of like after school special or like 80s TV show. Like, but what do I know? I don't have any.
Well, we have
totally
a very helpful list here on the doc that usually says the sections that we have, but whatever.
Yeah, I guess you don't like
I'm
I guess
sorry.
you don't want to be included. I guess you don't like us.
Goddess Watch.
I actually had some stuff about the subconscious to say first because I thought it was interesting, and it's related to the goddess.
Yeah.
Once again, so the subconscious. First of all, she has a long, skinny finger,
Yeah, that's weird.
and also she can morph into the scales of justice to remind Anastasia of abstract concepts. This kind of confirms for me that the subconscious has an appearance. An appearance she can morph, but an appearance nonetheless. So I'm still leaning towards her being Dumbledore because, long fingers, half moon glasses. It sounds like Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I have a comment about the inner goddess. Yes! My inner goddess is thrilled. This is after she shows Christian that she stole his underwear. So my theory, and I believe I believe it's a fact, the goddess gains power with wrongdoing and sexual congress. So think about that.
I will. That's kind of what I thought, that maybe she's described as tiny in the beginning, and so I thought that maybe she would grow as Anna got sexier. But maybe not.
It's hard to say because we are not told any indications of her size, but it may come up later.
Right.
So are you saying that perhaps the goddess is really the devil?
No way. Goddess is a term which doesn't imply any kind of morality. So it would be too soon to jump to that
Thanks,
conclusion.
patriarch. So the inner goddess sits in a lotus position with a complacent smile on her face. The inner goddess knows yoga. Is this a matter for concern?
It depends. Have we ever had any reason to fear yoga practitioners in the past?
There's only one yoga practitioner I can think of that would have any sort of threat going on.
Okay.
Who?
Dalseem from Street Fighter.
Well, she does have long fingers. Maybe she's stretching those fingers out.
That's
Maybe
the
she can-
subconscious.
Oh, that's right. Fuck.
You may consider them aspects of the same Anastasia's brain. Maybe she can yoga herself into a gun.
In keeping with the strange Eastern religion aspect, perhaps they're the yin and yang of each other.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so they are finally in the same area of Anna's brain.
Duking it out.
So Anna's thinking, and the incredible sensual sexuality I had experienced. Do I want to say goodbye to that? No! Screams my subconscious. For some reason, I don't know why. She's been so negative so far. No! My inner goddess nods in a zen-like agreement with her. They're agreeing. They're in the same area. What the subconscious is saying, no, you can't give up that sensual sexuality. And the inner goddess is agreeing with her. They're getting along now. I'm thinking maybe more mind control. I'm thinking maybe the inner goddess is mind controlling the subconscious into agreeing with her. Because this seems very out of character. So I think it's time
I think we need to
raise
the
the fucking level.
Raise the
Raise
fucking
the
level! I know Cloudy Grueldre was such an amazing name, but we need to move on.
Robot Chuuurls Grey.
Robot Chuuurls Grey. Whee! I almost don't want to include the explanations so nobody understands.
Okay.
Mysterious robot Chuuurls appears out of nowhere.
Amazing. Now that we've raised the level. So what was good, guys? I can tell you what I thought was good. It's this quote. Christian's mother, by the way. She gathers up her long cream coat and turns to him, offering him her cheek. He kisses her briefly, sweetly. She doesn't touch him. I loved that weird little detail that she doesn't touch him. It's almost like a mystery movie or a horror well, more mystery than horror, but it's like a little clue that'll come into play later. Except, knowing Yale James, it's not really. Or it's going to come in such a blunt way that we don't give a shit. We already know Christian doesn't like to be touched. But it's like, what's the mystery here? I'm drawn in. That was the only thing I liked about this chapter.
Yeah, that is good. I thought that the fact that Anna understands that the thing about Christian and the older lady is fucked up, whereas Christian was just like, oh yeah, I was seduced and I was just submissive and I loved it. She thinks of it as, him being taken advantage of and being molested. I think it's good that she didn't just think oh, it was just a thing. He was such a player even when he was a baby. But I do sort of wonder if it will turn out to be that Anna has made an assumption and that is not that bad. Contrary to what the actual reality would be in real life, and like she's misjudging the situation or something like that. I feel like that might be something that James would do, like, this is just another part of Anna's naivete or something like that. It also gives me hope that Anna will graduate and become a dom herself one day, because if Christian like goes about this being a sub and then becoming a dom later. Probably not, though. I'm almost certain not.
I like that Taylor showed up for like 2 lines and then he was gone.
Yeah, me too.
I also liked that Anna was aware of the troubling aspects of Christian's personal history, but
Safe word. I had one that very strongly disgusted me, and it is 2 different passages. I will read them.
The sooner I have your submission, the better.
And we can stop all this, he murmurs. Stop all what?
You defying me.
Next quote. Is this what our relationship will be like? I whisper. You ordering me around? I can't quite bring myself to look at him.
Yes, he murmurs.
I see.
And what's more, you'll want me to, he adds, his voice low. Ah!
And this is over ordering and eating food at a restaurant. It's not related to sex, which I understand some people's arrangements, they might be like that, which is okay, but he has a fetish that she does not have.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's getting all crazy into it, not respecting her boundaries, not trying to figure out if she would actually like that. Just like, you're gonna like it because I tell you to like it. And she's not but I mean, and that would be okay to say if she was a sub.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that kind of relationship, but you don't. And she isn't. And this is like right next to the revelation about the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Basically just saying like, I'm the most unstable guy. Like,
yeah.
That's me, Christian Grey, the most unstable guy.
Yeah, I really didn't like the thing about, we can stop all this, like this nonsense of you having agency, defying me. I mean, I guess, but like, it's not what she wants. She wants to, I don't know. It bothers me. Mine is a little bit sillier. It's when Kate and Anna are talking. Kate says that she's sore as well. And Anna says, "You're sore?" I exclaim. And then Kate replies, "Yes, overuse." I don't know. It just grossed me out. Speeding that pussy up.
Oh boy.
The age difference between Christian and Anna is a lot creepier when it's put into the terms that it is in this chapter, where Christian's mom is like, "How'd you guys meet?" And Christian's like, "She works for the school paper. I'm handing out their diplomas next week."
Yeah.
Which is like, whoa. Yeah, that's fucked up. And the power dynamic is a lot more obvious in those terms too, even outside of their relationship, that he used all of his power to get to her. Like, it's exceedingly obvious throughout the book, but like, Anna has a line later that's like, "He's so overwhelming, so alpha male." I don't like that phrase because it's stupid.
Yeah.
2, it continues this pattern of very unhealthy, unrealistic expectations about 1, like how men should be, and 2, like what women should expect or want or desire out of particular like types of men. Both of those are not good. They're very well ingrained, so it's hard to break those sorts of ideas. We talked about this a lot in the meta episode. It's better just to be like aware of these sorts of things, but she just tosses it out. It's definitely how things are supposed to be. Earlier I talked about Anna's inability to separate her physical wants from her own well-being, or like making decisions about her life. She's self-absorbed and not thoughtful, and that's not really how she's like how she's supposed to be. I don't think she's obviously like not as together as Kate is supposed to be, but she's supposed to be competent, and even though she lacks like self-confidence in the like looks and relationship department, she's still supposed to be intelligent and have good grades, have her life in order. But it really seems like it's unraveling here, and I think that's supposed to tie into, I guess, like her relationship with Christian, but she seems old enough to avoid those sorts of things outright. I don't know. It's sort of a complex issue, because obviously somebody like Christian who's abusing his power could lead somebody into something like that. But at the same time, Anna, anyway, actually this isn't worth talking about anymore. Oh, another thing, Christian, and presumably the author, assumes that like Kate doesn't really know about or would have serious problems with like the BDSM stuff. She's on her way to Barbados. Who cares what Kate thinks?
Okay. Then it's time for the spoiler dungeon.
Which
Thank you. Excellent.
Okay, so what is the deal with the relationship between Christian and his mom's friend?
Here we go. Because there's a 50 Shades of Grey wiki.com.
Oh,
It doesn't
wow.
say anything about the second book, which is, I think, where everything about her happens, which is crazy. This lady, Elena, his mom's friend, seduced Christian when he was 15 and introduced him to the BDSM lifestyle. See, like, I remember the scene, but I don't know where it is, where, like, he's like, doing some yard work for her, and, like, she just comes over and, like, starts making out with him or whatever. And I think, like, she, like, slaps him or something. He's like, I like this. Anyways, so she was his dom for 6 years. Christian believes that Elena's intervention was almost therapeutic for him, and it helped him focus his energies on school and curb his drinking and violent tendencies. So when Elena's husband found out about their affair when Christian was 21, her husband breaks her arm, cracks 4 of her ribs, and busts up her jaw. And despite the severity of her injuries, she doesn't press charges. I don't know why. Anyways, so there you have it. Well, this was a long-ass episode.
Yeah, good luck cutting that down. Yep,
Bye.
goodbye.
Next
See
Tuesday.
Laters, baby. And I'll also see you next Tuesday if I don't make any horrible mistakes again. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay,
Sorry.
Chuuurls. It's
Okay.
okay.
Bye.
I had a migraine. I was in California. Eee. Okay, I'm done complaining. Done.
I'm on fire. Tell me I can take you out.